Best Ball, a place where people's dreams can absolutely come true if you get things correct. If not, we blame things like variance, the planets not aligning, a couple of injuries, tectonic shifts. Doesn't matter. But today, to ensure victory, we've brought reinforcements, a past winner of Best Ball Mania, and one of the smartest best ball players that there is. There's no excuses today. Hopefully, Liam has brought his Justin Ross pants today because Scott Barrett's not going to let him walk away without drafting him. Maybe Kadarius Toney, maybe Darren Waller. Either way, today, Fantasy Points is back with another Best Ball breakdown. After a long and very needed vacation, I'm happy to be back. I, of course, your host for tonight's program. I am Thomas Hipple. Joining me, as always, is Scott Barrett and Chris Wecht. And as mentioned, Liam Murphy, again, previous winner of Best Ball Mania and multiple other tournaments. Liam, happy to have you with us. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to this electric opening.
We try our best. Gone for a couple weeks. Had to get it back in. And of course, everyone watching, you can join along with us. Feels like we haven't had a best ball stream in forever. Well, you missed last week then, Quentin, and you're telling on yourself. So there's that. Look, we are praying that Chris's power does hang with us today. Chris, it's been touch and go for you, it feels like.
Oh, no.
See, there it is. This is why we prepared. No. As I said it and brought it in, we might have lost Chris, but that's okay. We have a plan. He is back. He is here. Like I said, touch and go. It's almost like I scripted it, but happy you're here. Toronto Dave is also happy you're here. Scott, you're also ready to go, looking pale as ever. As I am the champion of not being pale anymore. Look, Liam, tons of questions. How has best ball changed since the big win? How has your approach changed? And
more
if it has changed.
Question people really want to know: what did you spend your money on?
Oh, I wasn't gonna go there, but
well, I'm not a material guy, right? Like I would never be like a buy a sports car type of thing. So I mean, I gambled. Invested some.
I heard a rumor that you bought a mail-ordered Serbian bride. Is that true?
That is not true. I have a lovely girlfriend.
And you had limb lengthening surgery, and you're now 6'1"?
No, I've always been a solid 5'11", 172. So some would say wide receiver size. But I don't know. I traveled with it.
Nice.
I'm going to the
went to
World Series.
Idaho.
Went to the World Series of Poker last year. Going back again this year. Had a good run. So hopefully we win the WSOP main event. What a sick parlay that would be. Big 10 mil. Come back. Win BBM4 anyways. Now we're on a heater, boys. That's the goal. I don't know. I guess I bought time with my win. Quit my job.
Love that.
Was fortunate to bink 2 more tournaments. I fired at the high stakes tournaments, which I probably would not have been in, or I would have been with a couple entries and, said, hey, I think I'm the shark in these waters, and was fortunate to. Scott, is this a running theme? The limb lengthening?
It was a joke I had on Bryce Young, where it's like the one knock on him is his height. So, okay, sit him for a year, start Andy Dalton, have him do limb lengthening surgery. He's a generational prospect at 6'3". I thought it was a great tweet. I sent it out 3 different times. Every single time it popped.
Got to hit those different time zones.
I know. It wasn't meant to be.
Did you do it live? Because everyone wants to know about the banger tweets that Scott puts
out. That was a live banger tweet.
Yeah. 100%. Like you probably lost focus after the 3rd round and just got it going, as is tradition here. Well,
you didn't answer your question, Liam. What's changed in underdog drafts from a year ago?
Well, I won 2 years ago, of course, and back then I think I I thought the market was just like wrong all over the place. Like that year was pretty easy for me to find some fades at the top of the rounds. Like I was 100% out on Zeke and Kamara that year, who were 3-4. Like I was just legit not taking these guys. I was taking Eckler or Diggs or different guys there to try to get unique combos. So I thought it was pretty easy to fade them. I wrongly faded Derrick Henry. I mean, it was the right result because he got hurt, but it wasn't like, sometimes you get lucky in life too. But it was easy to get a lot of big fades then. I had big, huge stands on players back then too. I still do today, but like I'm talking like a lot of Jamar Chase, a lot of Mike Williams, a lot of Michael Pittman back then, back when he was with Philly Rivers, because they were cheap. The wide receivers weren't quite as expensive. Flash forward to today, and I think the markets are more efficient than ever before. I don't feel the same way about the first round as I don't want to fade any of the top 8 guys, right? Like nine guys, like down to AJ Brown or so. Back end of the first round feels a little different. It really does. Almost every year feels this way, but it really does feel like the top picks have quite a nice advantage due to the 2-3 turn combos you can get versus the 3-4 turn combos. And I mean, if we just flash back to Best Ball Mania 1, which of course, like I wasn't even playing on Underdog back then, but that year in fantasy football, a single wide receiver went in the first round, Michael Thomas, right? The rest was like Kenyon Drake was a back half, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Eckler was still out there, Aaron Jones was, but it was Michael Thomas was the only wideout. Like Kelsey and Tyreek and Julio back then were like 2-3 turn guys. And flash forward to today, we have 2 running backs consistently going the first, CMC and Bijan, right? Like Eckler might get there now with the contract. And also back in like, it not only is the top half different, but also like Best Ball Mania 1 days, you could get Justin Jefferson and T. Higgins and Chase Claypool for like free in drafts. And like I was the only guy drafting Gabe Davis, for example, right? Like who was like a 4th round pick. This year we have like, the rookies are just a lot more efficiently priced, it seems. There's still some cheap rookies, right? Like some Jaden Reeds and whatnot, but it just seems like the market's better at as we would expect, as the market becomes more liquid and more money is gambled through the site and there's more prizes to win. And by the way, like Underdog got a pretty sick run out. Like, Justin wins, a great ambassador for the sport. I was a fantasy nobody at the time, but clearly liked the game and worked hard at it. And then Pat, a guy who's in fantasy football, won. Like now it's like, okay, like those are like achievable like dreams. Like it's not like random dudes on the internet auto drafting to win the game, right? So I don't know. A lot's changed. What are your guys' takes about the market and everything?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on one thing you said, which was, you'd think like a tournament where you need to finish first out of 1 million people is going to lend itself more towards variance and luck, but it's a testament that really sharp fantasy analysts such as yourself, Pat Crane, managed to take it down. So really makes myself and all of our subscribers feel like we have a real shot. What are we going to say, Chris?
I was just going to say, they're like just every year there's people are doing more and more research, people are digging deeper and deeper into this, and even with every new research thing that comes out, it feels like we know less than we thought we knew before. Something I've been kind of looking at, because I feel like a lot of the talk this year has been on combinatorial ownership, and if you take Kelsey in the first, should you be avoiding Mahomes because everybody's trying to do that, or should you do it because for Kelsey to be good, Mahomes will be good. Same thing with Diggs and Allen, AJ Brown and Hurts. I've started doing like research on that and basically found that there was tons of other combos last year that like CeeDee Lamb Dak was like 35% owned in all of BBM4. Like that just like we wouldn't do that in like DFS on a weekly slate. We'd say that's like highly overowned. Obviously Dak got hurt, so the advance rate for those teams was not great. It was better if you only had CD and not Dak and had some other quarterback. But then there was other combos like with the, what Scott calls the power law players, Mahomes, Kelsey, AJ Brown, Hurts, Josh Allen, and his wide receivers. So even it just always feels like we're trying to solve this game, but there's still so much that we're trying to learn.
And real quick on that, because you're the third person I've heard mention this, and it surprises me, where it's like the combo, like to me intuitively, now this is not, I'm not someone who like looks through and tries to fit the data always, because I feel like a lot of data is descriptive, meaning it defines what worked in the past, but it's not predictive, right? And so on the combinatorial ownership, I hear, to me, it makes all the sense in the world, where like, I don't think about it as much as like when I have Kelsey, I should fade Mahomes because of how correlated that pick is going to be from other drafters. To me, it's like, okay, stacking, I know that's good. That overweighs it. For me, it's where it's like, there are 30,000 teams that have Justin Jefferson, Pollard, and, whoever, 2-3, like Derrick Henry, right? Like choose any combo like that. But there are nearly 0 teams that have Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley, or like literally any back half turn player. So like getting unique that way, but not fading things that we know are logically good, a quarterback stacked with the pass catcher. Because sometimes things like you said happens where the quarterback gets hurt, the pass game weapon's still good, but it's really just like thinking through. And some people like, I told this to Pat Corain, and he's like, well, no, I think you're giving up too much projection. And like, I flat out disagree with that. I don't think the projection between a 2-3 turn and 3-4 turn is like, we're going to feel that it's a big thing, but it's just not, right? Like, we're just not going to be that accurate and right. So like on the 1-2 turn, starting with 2-3 turn guys. Sometimes I've started with Pollard, Chubb on the 1-2 turn, knowing very few people are doing that. Therefore, once we get to the playoffs, it's going to, give me leverage or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a really good I think that's kind of after doing some of this research, because I can't find a like distinctive feature about which combos were good, if there was anything different, the way the ADPs fell, whatever. I've yet to find anything that tells you like, oh, this is the reason that these types of combos didn't work. So I think, like you said, stacking, which we know is good, do that, but then just do something like reaching a little bit, or pairing
and not
guys
every draft, right?
Yeah, no.
Just where you get it comes down to like, did those players matter? And
right.
and sometimes, and by mean matter, I mean like specifically for week 15, 16, and 17. And sometimes the answer is yes. Like sometimes Kamara goes for 50 week 17, and so you needed him, and maybe you needed his week 16 score. And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes you need the late round Amon-Ra, Rashad Penny, take your pick,
I think ultimately, like, that's the most important thing. I think we can get bogged down with trying to find these micro edges that are now being like massively overstated in terms of their importance. But I really think the way to win this is drafting the right players and the right positions in an order that makes sense to their draft capital. But yeah, I mean, stacking for week 17, combinatorial ownership, I just see that as like minor micro edges, but like potentially, but not something that I really think moves the needle in a major way. But I don't know, open to being wrong on that.
I think it's a lot different than DFS, right? Where it's like naturally ownership gets differentiated in DFS, right? Because like people are just kind of clicking on names, and they're going to, so it's like, it would be very unusual for like every single Rashad Penny team to also have, whatever, Hollywood Brown, or just like take a pick. But in best ball, it's very common where it's just like, nope, Justin Jefferson always goes as the 101. And if you are trying to win a field of 1 million people, sometimes it's like, nope, sometimes you should take Saquon Barkley there or Bijan there, because literally no one has him plus 2-3 turn guys. And in those years where the 2-3 turn guys power you through the playoffs, and then Bijan's the guy you need in week 17, it's like maybe you're the only one to get Bijan there, because you had, everyone has those dead Jefferson teams. So you're right. It's like, it's a micro edge. We don't know which combo you did, but undoubtedly to me, intuitively, and I think I'm like an intuitive player more than anything, like you should do this sometimes. And sometimes you get unique by just scooping up players after ADP. So it's like, it's hard to say when you should be doing what.
Yeah, I view that a little differently. Like I think it's super important to mix exposure, just because you go all in on, let's say, Christian McCaffrey as your 101, and then he tears his ACL week 1, like so many of your teams are just so dead. So it makes sense to mix exposure and then just grab ADP fallers always. That's just, it makes your, it cheapens the cost of all these players across your portfolio. And that's where like the massive edges are, or a massive edge is, grabbing a potential power law player at a price that all other teams aren't really getting when they're taking him. But I don't know. You want to get into this?
I love it. We absolutely will. We're going to take a quick second. When we come back, it's draft time with myself, Scott, Chris, and again, guest Liam. Sit tight. Quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, look, we're going to enter this right away, but first, of course, I want everyone to know that this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. It's the biggest fantasy football tournament of all time. Best Ball Mania 4. Don't know what Best Ball is? It's simple. You just enter Best Ball Mania on Underdog's slick mobile app or browser for you boomers. Draft your team, and that's it. It's as simple as draft and forget it. Underdog optimizes your lineup weekly to create the highest scoring one. It's here, it's begun, and it's getting filled up quickly. You don't want to miss out on your shot of a grand prize of $3 million. Of course, you can get signed up on UnderdogFantasy.com or via the App Store with promo code FantasyPTS, and we'll get your first deposit doubled up to a whopping $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code FantasyPTS, where you'll get a fantasy points subscription for $5, as one John Hanson might say. That's a $60 value for, again, just $5. And of course, sign up today with Fantasy Points. Again, get it doubled. I cannot stress this enough. Of course, you must be 18 years of age, 19 years of age in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NEW York. In Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789. It's time to hit the button. Look, I have rules that I must follow, and you must follow them. Look, we're going to get in here. Do you have a favorite spot, Liam, that you like to draft from?
I mean, if I got to choose one, I guess I'd choose the 101, but I really do like all the way until the 109 this year. And occasionally I even like past that. It really just depends. Sometimes like the 112 is rough really when you come to the 3-4 turn, and then the 5-6 turn. But I take the 101, and my 101 is Chase. I'm a clear Chase over Jefferson guy. I think it's just having a heavy exposure to a first round player is strictly a variance question.
Right.
To me, Chase has both the best playoff schedule, but also the highest ceiling of any player in the player pool. Hard to take a knock on Justin Jefferson, who I don't want 0% Jefferson, but if someone felt like doing that in a singular contest, I don't have a problem with it. And, obviously I like all these guys. Like really the top 4 wideouts feel extremely nice down to Cup. CMC, pretty good. Kelsey, the only thing is like age, but it's like, clearly he can just kind of like run up the field, turn around and catch a ball. So, and he's tight end.
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys like? Also, light mode is just no one with light mode has ever took down a contest, so you absolutely need to go into these settings and click that dark mode for your fans.
There you go.
There we go.
I am a boomer. I apologize.
Well, now you're a man of the people.
I think I am the oldest on the program, so I think boomer would apply here. Okay, we're at the 5. Liam, guest of honor, lead the way when it comes time, please.
Well, I would say let's do one or two things. Let's either take, assuming the choice between Hill or Cup, let's take whoever we like there. Personally, I really like Tyreek's matchup against the Ravens. I just can't get that Dolphins-Ravens game out of my head from this year. I know it's different, but like that game was insane. But if we wanted to do the different combinatorial ownerships, we could like rip a CeeDee Lamb or something.
Oh, God.
And the amount of CeeDee Lamb plus 2-3 turn guys is very low. And the projection difference between a Lamb and these other guys is also not that high. But, you know, I leave that up to the crew here. Scott hit me with an "oh God," so
yeah,
I can tell
describing
he's not
Scott's
on
worst
board.
now. Scott loves Kelsey and hates CeeDee Lamb. So
That's
you
right.
didn't mention Kelsey, and you said let's try CeeDee.
Well, Kelsey wouldn't be getting unique, right? Because Kelsey with any combination of 2-3 turn guys is a lot of them. But
I think he offers like immense uniqueness in the fact that you don't necessarily need not just a third tight end, but you might not even need a second tight end if you take Kelsey, and then that gives you, if he just dominates during the bonus rounds, gives you.
I think a single tight end is worse than a single quarterback because
who are we taking here? We're on the clock, right?
With Cup being autoed, if you guys are okay with.
Sure.
I'd also rip. I don't know. I'm a little afraid by Kelsey's age. Are we just going down with the ship there?
Oh, for sure. Until that bites us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like the Chiefs are a really weird team, right? Because I know we talked about this. I don't know if we were live or yet, but like there are some exciting dudes on their team. The Ross bros were, you know, like John Ross went like 12 overall or something, right? Like, and then Justin Ross, I think would have been like a top wideout if he didn't get hurt. And shouldn't he be healthy this year? Like,
yeah, he also might just be like a shell of his former self, and it's like an injury you just don't come back from effectively. I mean, I get it. Like, there's some guys with like hype in the dynasty space, but to me, I mean, like Kelsey was the clear tight end one with Tyreek Hill there, and all these guys combined aren't like Tyreek levels. It just gives you a massive advantage at the position. I think the best counter argument, we keep talking about this, but the best counter argument against him is like Darren Waller's value, although he's climbing. But
I like Waller a lot too. I like a lot of tight ends, and I mean, even Kelsey had like 250 points last year. The combination of like Knox, Noah Fant, and Tyler Conklin got you 200 points probably, right? So it's like, yes, Kelsey, the weeks where he scores a touchdown and goes for 30, he's just like probably the piece you need to win. But from an advance rate perspective, you can likely match them with. I mean, there's a lot of tight ends to like. Like, I like these rookies this year. Almost every single round, you convince yourself. Now, we historically do that, and we're very wrong. But
I just think he is like, it's impossible to win without him upside that no other tight end has. Like, if he had his weeks 10 through 12 last year in the bonus rounds, like, you need Kelsey to win. And
I mean, TJ Hawkinson scored 40 twice last year,
that's true,
right?
That's true,
like,
yeah.
You know, like there's other players have ceilings.
Yeah, it's just
Mark Andrews does.
It's that ceiling plus the consistency of being the overall tight end one like 6 years in a row, and
I just think
outscoring all other tight ends by 100 points.
My worry with paying what you're paying for Kelsey is you basically have to have him continue to be what he is, which is definitely a possibility. There's no doubt about that. But it's for the lowest overall scoring position in fantasy. Like,
but he has that advantage over everyone else because it's the lowest scoring position and everyone but him sucks, but he's basically the wide receiver 3.
Sure. I just don't know. We've talked about this a bunch of times.
I could do this all day. Yeah. Chris is.
This is the year I'm most okay being lower on Kelsey. Like, will I maybe end up around 8%?
Well, yes. I mean, you nailed David Njoku last year. You nailed some late round tight ends. So like the only strategy that beats, you know, oligarch tight end is nailing the right late round tight ends, which you did last year.
Well, and he felt like a layup, right? He's like the highest paid guy.
I hated that pick, but no, you were right.
I like Pollard quite a bit. Like, I think he's drawn
wonderful
to be RB1. Yeah, I like Chubb too, but I just don't see him having the same. You know, like if we look at Pollard versus like Pollard was close to Chubb last year, and a lot of Chubb scoring came before Watson was back in fold, right? So
right, Breece Hall that early, kind of wild.
So Tony Pollard fractured his fibula. What was it? The last game of the year. And I asked Edwin to give me his take on Pollard, and he was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe he'll lose like half a step, but I'm not really sure. I still have to dig into him, and he still hasn't gotten back to me. So every time I see Tony Pollard, I'm worried like he's going to get back to me in 2 weeks and be like, yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
But I mean, like, the plan for the Cowboys cannot be to roll with Rojo, Deuce Vaughn, and
I think they're going to add like a Kareem Hunter, Leonard Fournette. Bucky Brooks was on his podcast asking the front office like recently, why don't you give Tony Pollard more touches? And they said, we think he would be less explosive and less efficient if we gave him more touches. So we just really like the number he's at. That doesn't make any sense to me because like when he gets 12 or more carries, he averages like 140 yards. But this is just what donkey NFL front offices think. But even if not, it's like he was a beast with Zeke there. So
let's talk about those guys. How have you guys been approaching? I'll add a couple more. Zeke, Hunt, Fournette, those three. Like, who are they going to cuck, if you would? Or are they just going to be, see ya, you sucked? And how about Dalvin and Joe Mixon? Where are you at on Joe Mixon? Is Joe Mixon staying a Bengal?
Oh, for sure. He's like the best value in underdog drafts right now. Dalvin Cook's going to Miami, and the other guys, I have no idea. It's possible like one of them goes to like Jacksonville or something stupid and horrible.
I don't think so with them drafting Tank in the third. Like,
no, I know, but it's like a spot like that you wouldn't expect. That makes no sense.
I like the three free agent guys. I've been drafting a decent amount right now because I feel like no matter where they sign, their ADP is going to climb once they have a spot, and I feel pretty good about each of them signing somewhere.
But are they going to be Julio rising last year? You know,
they
where
might,
it's like you feel good, but yeah, what'd you get? You know?
Right. That's definitely the fear, but I don't like a team that's signing Leonard Fournette or Zeke is not going to. It's like Julio can go out there and just run around, you know, and not get the ball. Zeke and Fournette and Hunt, if they're getting signed to a team, it's likely because the team's going to give them opportunities to some degree. How much, I don't know, but
they were all so bad though, right? Like,
yeah,
so like,
no, yeah.
To me, it's like the Todd Gurley thing, where it's just like life comes at you fast, right? Like 1 year, people were like, "Are we really going to let Todd Gurley go for free in the 20th round?" And some people are like, "No, we're going to draft him." And it's like, well, he didn't play. Like he's out of there, you know. So,
Fournette's probably the most.
I like Jacobs a lot. I don't see any
that.
issue with him. And here's where it's like, what we're doing here is very common. And it might just be like the nuts. It might just be all three of these dudes go crazy, right? So it's like, probably we shouldn't do every single team like this. Maybe some teams we do, even though it feels bad to like fade these running backs for some wideouts. Maybe we just try to hit some mid-round guys at running back, you know, hope we can find some Ken Walkers, whatever.
This is a lot of our teams for whatever reason. 2 running backs in the first 4 rounds.
Right. When you have top 5 picks, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even think they're risky plays, right? Like, I mean, I find my biggest struggle sometimes is separating like dynasty thought process to apply it to best ball. But we're talking about guys like Pollard and Jacobs who aren't even on the fringe of decline at this point. Like they're pretty much locked in. I don't even think they can get cucked at this point in the season personally. So I feel like they're just absolutely locked. Like we saw Bijan go at 106 and then Breece Hall went a couple picks before we had drafted Pollard. When I find those 2 picks to be just as risky as Pollard and Jacobs are.
I see no issue at all with Pollard. Jacobs, the only thing is like, and I don't know, you know, I'm not as researched as I assume you guys are, but like some people tout that he had a lot of touches, and like the history of people who have a lot of touches the next year isn't great. And I think the Raiders are very live to sign. Doesn't that just seem like a Mike McDaniel thing to do, to be like, oh, we're gonna get Zeke and Fournette as the backup, you know, like I think they could add, but still is like wheels up Jacobs season, right? And probably with Jimmy G, he's going to get more catches.
Yeah, I honestly might like Jacobs above Pollard. I love Jacobs. He had a bunch of touches last year. It's not a bad thing. That is a good thing. And he's on the last year of his contract. They are going to run him into the ground. he was a beast. He was a monster. Fit right into that offense. I think he's going to smash, especially in half-point PPR.
Yeah, I generally fade like voodoo magic like that. Like, oh, he touched the ball a lot last year.
Well, that's what NFL teams said about Jonathan Taylor. They said he wasn't worthy of a first-round pick because he touched the ball too much in college. The guy never missed a game and averaged like 180 rushing yards per game, and the NFL saw that as a bad thing. So dumb.
He's so good that we gave him the ball too much. You shouldn't use him. Like, forget about it. No reason.
So who we looking at here? I know who stands out to me. I don't expect you guys to agree with it, but I will say
Christian Watson,
Keenan Allen, or Christian Watson.
Oh,
I mean, I like Watson a lot. Has a ton of weekly upside. I got no issues with Keenan. He obviously is a little bit better on PPR.
Yeah.
It seems like the Mike Williams thing is I like Big Mike. I know, but I was reading earlier that like the injury maybe is still a concern. The overlap with Quentin Johnston's a little and whatever too. And Christian Kirk's been on all three of my winning teams. So we're firmly a Kirk brand guy over here. Plus betting on the Jags passing attack is a thing I think we want to do.
Another knock on Mike Williams. Joe Lombardi's not there anymore. Lombardi was obsessed with him, called him his new Michael Thomas. And he just drafted a Quentin Johnston in round 1.
I also think we should consider Fields like following this. What pick number are we at?
It's a little bit of a fall.
12
I'd say
seconds.
if we could push him a little.
So Keenan, Mike Williams, and Kirk.
I would remove Mike Williams and prefer Keenan, but you can give Liam the pick.
Keenan's fine.
Yeah,
I just tried to switch it to Kirk.
I say this every time Christian we talk about Christian Kirk. Everyone's drafting Calvin Ridley, so excited about Calvin Ridley. But Trevor Lawrence and his wife are posting on Instagram nonstop double dates with Christian Kirk and his girlfriend. That has to mean something.
This is not Kirk does this a lot. He did the same thing with Kyler.
Wow.
And I was hearing that back in the BBM2 days, but I mean, I like Calvin Ridley a lot, to be clear, too. Like, I think he can smash, but it's like the Miami guys and the Eagles guys. Both the guys can be good. They're just a cheaper version of it on an offense who might throw for more yards, like than the Eagles.
Would you be shocked if the Bengals were what the Jaguars were last year and the Jaguars were what the Bengals were, I don't know, 2 years ago, last year? I wouldn't be.
I just think we have a lot of good teams in the NFL coming up. Like it was like a big 3 last year, maybe a big 4. If you like the 3 AFC teams and like the Eagles, and then it's like there's some good young quarterbacks in the league, and like
Herbert,
a lot of teams making moves.
And those are the teams you want to be invested in, especially in this sort of format. The good teams, like Terry McLaurin's good, but that's not a good situation. Being the wide receiver 3 in Los Angeles is better than being the wide receiver 1 in Chicago.
I mean, we gotta go Kirk here.
Have to. I'm very sad that Configure took Herbert here a little bit, but that's okay.
And maybe we'll get Trevor on the way back.
Yeah.
Who clicked on George Kittle?
I have him up there.
Why?
Because he's a tight end. And
what's your issue with George Kittle had 11 touchdowns last year? It's a 30-point ceiling in a game. We should be. I'm team elite tight end, all of them.
I don't view him as elite with a healthy Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel.
So when he was like going off at the end of the year, winning people championships is what you don't like, because they were all healthy when he did.
I mean, if you're banking,
Scott was just pouting in the corner that it wasn't Kelsey, and he was pissed off that he was gonna. So he's like,
I've been known to pout.
If it isn't Kelsey, it's nobody else.
YouTube chat can confirm I am a powder and a crybaby.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't denounced the team yet and just started tweeting.
I like this.
I mean, can Kittle not score 3 touchdowns against the Commanders?
For sure.
Thomas, can you pull up the draft board real quick? I just want to see what some of these other teams, how people.
That's something you're really good at, Liam, is always bringing us back to the importance of weekly upside, and for sure.
Well, that's
weekly upside
best ball is
game.
a weekly upside game, right? Where
especially in
think
the tournament style as well.
in these and a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking season long, but elite tight end, I like to call it have your cake and eat it too type of strategy, where you win in two ways. And this is true of, I guess, any position, but it's especially important at tight end because of how variant it is, where either A, your tight end has a great season, therefore you advance your team, right? Or B, your tight end gets way outscored by the guys around you, and that's also a win as long as they're healthy, because now you have a low-owned, high-variant, elite tight end in the playoffs. Like, you can't draw that up better. So it's like, no matter what, you're winning as long as your dude survives the season. You know, is he always going to hit in the playoffs at low ownership? No, but like I have a lot more Hawkinson and Kittle. I have a little bit less Andrews just because he's climbing boards, but than I do Kelsey right now.
Liam, what do you think of the guy in 101 that went Burrow Fields back to back? If you take Fields early, are you pro two elite QBs together, or is that too much together?
Not something I do a lot. I think it's fine for both the regular season prize and for playoff weeks if they can ping pong, but it's a thin bet, right?
Yeah.
You know, both of my elite quarterback teams, when I had Josh Allen and Mahomes, on one of them I got 20th round Geno Smith, right, which like obviously hit in a big way, but didn't even need him. I had Mahomes. And the other one, when I won BBM2, I had Josh Allen, and I had a mid-round Justin Fields, who literally did not contribute a single point that year. So it's like, probably we should be drafting like we're right.
Right.
Oh, Mr. Glass, thank you. We appreciate
and like people should
by.
not be taking Lawrence if they don't have his like.
Yeah, did
Lawrence
that guy have Ridley?
Okay, but like
Well,
if he has Ridley, it's fine.
I'll check for that when we're done here in a second here, Chris.
Yeah.
Because I want to scowl at that player.
I mean, Pittman is well past.
What's the pick number?
ADP here.
68.
68. Are we on the clock?
We are about to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take a falling Pittman, and then we could get him. Like, I've not been loving Pittman.
Yeah, I don't like him either. But
this is probably like where he should fall, but like sets up.
Never mind, he's
AR
gone.
Stack.
He is gone.
This is a tough draft. I like the running back. I like the top two running backs on the board. I like Deontay Johnson quite a bit. I think I like him way more than George Pickens. I like Swift. I like Akers. I like Hollywood. Kyle Pitts is a tight end. I don't draft a lot of him, but he kind of makes sense for this team. Gets the Bears week 17.
I kind of like either of the Pitts or Goddard here.
I like Tony.
I know you like Tony Scott. That's right. That's good use.
I mean, Tony's hard, right? It's like if he's gonna be healthy this whole season and play all the games, it makes sense. Can you scroll down on our team so we can see the full?
Of course I can. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Absolutely.
So, any Giant gives us a week 17 stack.
God.
Any Bronco?
Oh, Darren Waller.
Any
Bronco.
Darren Waller? There you go. Any Bronco? Any Panther?
Oh, we just took Pitts. We can't take Waller. Fuck.
Any Colt? Any Bear? Any Lion?
Well, it's Desmond Mitter time for us.
Oh no. He's gonna get Tannehill for
we
sure.
We have to Mitter up.
I think Tannehill's gonna be a Falcon.
I agree.
For sure. Yeah.
I heard from some people that said they're pretty sure that's not happening.
Really?
Ooh.
Next year?
No, this year, 2023.
Yeah. Next year he'll be a Falcon.
Next year, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Derek Brown is saying expletive, no Mitter.
Yeah, he sucks. I'll be honest.
Well, there's a reason I call him Desmond Mitter. All right, and it fits.
I'm not picking up.
I'm like not a tape guy. Your tape has to be like either really incredible or really terrible for me to reference your tape, and his tape was.
Let's grab Waller. Let's double elite tight end.
Fuck it, let's do it. I'm down.
We haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, in MFL 10s, that was briefly considered like the optimal strategy was taking 2 tight ends in the first 4 rounds.
I mean, Waller could break the slate this year. Like
Yeah.
Waller
That's
legitimately like could just be the engine of a Brian Dable offense, where it's like maybe the answer to is it Slayton or Hodgins or Wandale or any of the other 10 slot guys is it's just Waller, baby.
Yeah, yeah. I like that bet, so we don't have to play the guessing game with 7 different slot wide receivers.
So the story of this team right now is the Waller has a terrible playoffs. Kyle Pitts just goes off in week 15 and 16, but then the Rams Giants game just goes nuts in week 17.
Right.
Boom.
So we probably looking at Stafford.
Or they just both
maybe
go off
late.
and we get them in our flex.
And I mean, it's not a bad team to go double elite tight end because we have 3 high volume slot guys who we feel good about for like a good floor ceiling combo. And we have 2 running backs who we feel are locked in. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we're going to figure out quarterback. We're going to add running back and wideout depth, but we're not like weak at wideout. Like double elite tight end really sucks when you're like wideout 3 is like, I don't know.
So who was the
Juice
last wide
Schuster.
receiver taken?
Dotson.
And what was he? Wide receiver?
I mean, and it falls off a cliff pretty soon here.
Yeah, so
Right,
Darren
like-
Waller in 2020 averaged 14.3 fantasy points per game. That was wide receiver 9.
Dotson was wide receiver 41.
Right.
According
So,
to ADP
and
right
again, Waller finished as wide receiver 9 in 2020.
Derek says he has a problem, and much like Cowbell, apparently drafting Darren Waller is an infectious disease. So he's riding with us.
Yeah, David Njoku just goes off the board.
I love
We're
that
winning.
Connor. I love that Connor and Njoku.
I feel like
Double
Njoku
up.
is a little overpriced this year. I mean, the truth is like it doesn't matter because it's exactly what I was saying before. If the dude hits touchdowns in the playoffs, go for it. Obviously, I liked him more last year as like a 15th round guy than
Right.
I don't know. It's like real opportunity cost. You're fading a first round rookie wideout on the Chargers, Quentin Johnston, to get David Njoku. I guess if I have Deshaun, I'd do it. But like other than that, seems like a thin bet.
He's been in the league's 6 years, 0 seasons with 650 receiving yards or more than 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you really need Watson to take a step, get back to something.
I mean, I'd
like
rather
he used
have
to be.
Elijah. Did Elijah go off the board?
Elijah doesn't go off the board for a while.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. James Conner, I think, was a great value there. I don't think we really talked about him at all, but I like that.
I do love him there.
He opened in like the
Okay.
100s.
Wow.
So who on the board currently?
We can do stuff
approve?
like we could grab Dak and get that Dak Pollard weird stack. We could
Or we
click on wideout. Like these are some of the last wideouts and running backs. A running back, I don't feel great here, but like I like all of the wideouts, all of the Ravens guys. I'm like real confident one or two of the Ravens wideouts is going to smash this year, a la like the Eagles last year.
I mean,
But I'm
Bateman
not-
blow up games are a real thing, right? Like,
well, but
when
is it
healthy.
like is it Zay? Is it Bateman? Is it OBJ? Michael
Right.
Thomas could literally be the best pick on the board if he can like stay healthy. So I think it's wide out here for me. And then we still have like Daniel.
So
do you guys feel-
Baltimore to me looks crowded, and it's an inaccurate run first quarterback.
What about Hollywood? Like,
I like
is
Hollywood.
Is Hollywood?
I like
not the
Hollywood a
same-
lot.
Yeah, is he not the same bet as Amari Cooper last year, where like we
Yeah,
were all
right.
discounting him?
Because the quarterback was hurt, and DeAndre Hopkins is still supposed to get traded.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
he
get
could-
cut
he could-
probably.
Even with not Marquise Brown, when Hopkins was playing, was still generating 8-9 targets per game, and that's all he needs to pop off. We saw that in Baltimore when he was a top 6-7 wide receiver for 7-8 weeks pre-injury. So he doesn't need that much.
And his team could be down 40 at the half against
Yeah.
the Eagles, and he gets a
Yeah.
bunch of garbage time.
The
Is it
Cardinals' passing
Tune?
attack feels way underrated to me. Like I know whether Kyler's ready to come back or not, but like they are gonna be passing all the time.
Well, I think some
Week
of that comes.
10 is what I heard, and then even then they're not incentivized to really play him.
Who would
Yeah,
their
yeah.
starter be then? Toon?
Colt McCoy.
No, Colt
Boy.
McCoy, yeah.
Cool.
They always got David Blau if they need to.
David.
Oh hell yeah.
David Blau, he threw that touchdown to Trey McBride and won me a contest last year.
That's
I
awesome.
love that.
Blau. Shout out Blau.
Who
On a
who are we
Kelsey
looking-
team, Kelsey McBride team.
Love that. Are we even contemplating Daniel Jones here?
No, I think we grab him
this
if
pick?
he's there. I like Daniel Jones a lot for our team.
Yep.
Can you click on
Okay.
quarterbacks just so? Oh, I would much rather Aaron Rodgers. Much rather. But
With
we
Waller?
can do whatever you want. Or Dak
Who's
Prescott.
he stack with? Who
cares?
Oh, yeah, Dak I think we grab.
Dak
Dak
over
fell.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Let's grab Dak and Pollard and
You can still grab Gallup late.
I find that interesting just because I hear we will draft Dak here.
I don't know. I like
just
Daniel
'cause some-
too.
Just because
It's
some
pretty
people
thin.
Yeah,
It's
some
pretty
people just
similar.
don't. Some people just don't like stacking running back in their quarterback. So I find it like I feel like some people either don't care or they just absolutely refuse to do it, which I find it interesting. I don't
think
mind
it's
doing it.
both positive. I mean, for our team, it's clear positive correlation, right? Like Pollard
Right.
catches passes and he can house a touchdown. But it's also negative correlation, which is just as good, where it's like it can be Pollard one week, Dak the other week. You know, like
You just
We
have
spend
all
on
the
that
touchdowns
offense.
for the Cowboys. Yeah.
yeah.
I am a little worried that their pass volume is going to come way down, but I don't. McCarthy just really seems like he wants to win with defense, but I don't think their defense will be as good as it's been.
You
the
can
past
want
few
to do
years.
that, but like the NFL
Right.
doesn't let you, right?
Right,
Like
exactly.
it's an
Right.
offensive league.
Yeah, but I don't underestimate how much of a moron Mike McCarthy is and that he's calling plays now.
I mean, we never saw Rodgers have like an insanely low pass volume year in any of the years they were there. So, I mean, I know Dak is not Aaron Rodgers, but
Right. Well, apparently Aaron Rodgers was also calling plays.
yeah, he probably was just audibling to whatever he wanted to do.
Apparently he called plays for the backup who set the record for like 500 and something passing yards. I don't know. Like they let him call plays for one game and that's what happened.
Phenomenal. Derek disagrees. He says Dimes Dak, but I mean, can he be trusted? I don't think Derek.
in
You can't be
Superflex-
trusted with the Giants.
Matt Flynn,
In-
that's who it was.
Hey, that's fair. In Superflex leagues, they were going right next to each other, right? So it's like, yeah, it's an ADP discount and BBM4 where Dak's more expensive, but like the market viewed these quarterbacks as basically the same bet. So yeah, we could have taken Jones to get like the full stack, but we probably have like a higher floor now where we have a different quarterback where we're not all in on one game for week 17 and we can, Waller can catch a touchdown and Daniel Jones still doesn't score a lot. Right. And like that might be winning. Plus the Pollard Dak stack is probably a lot rarer than the Lamb Dak stack.
Yep.
So
and we can take Luke Schoonmaker or Jake Ferguson or whoever the hell you guys think the tight end is there.
It gets a little gross, I think, coming up. Because we're not
This is
quite
a range to grab running back to me, unless we
Mhm.
want to grab OBJ or Lazard,
I like Penny.
Yeah, I like
Yeah, I
Penny as well.
I like Penny as well. We call him Rashad Dollar over on my channel
that.
Damn.
because he won me the $1 million.
That's awesome.
Any
mini-
interest in somebody like Gibson here, Herbert, just running back, going through the other running backs?
Definitely
that are
not
available?
Herbert. Gibson, I would consider, but like I view a chain, Damian and Penny as better bets than Gibson because there are some outcomes where like Brian Robinson, who was shot last year, just is a absolute alpha when that doesn't happen. Where
Okay.
it feels like Penny and a chain are good bets.
Man, I love that Harris pick right there.
I mean, Penny gets to play. Did we take Hollywood?
Yeah, we took Hollywood too. So that
Yeah, we
works.
should take Penny for that week 17
Wait,
game
are you
stack.
sure? Did we?
We love that. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, let's take Penny.
For the week 17,
Week 17, Penny
Week-
scores 3 touchdowns. Same thing as the Penny Amon-Ra, just a little bit more expensive.
see, we could have gone with yeah, I love that. For the week 17 bros, we got you covered here at fantasypoints.com. All right. We're thinking of you. We're locked in. Do you think A-Chain falling a little bit is just on the Dalvin Cook possibility alone.
I
think
think
he's a
Cook
bad
would be a
guy.
weird signing there. Like, I understand that's been like the buzz, but like, I don't know. He was pretty rough last year. Is he that much better than Jeff Wilson and Mostert? And
that's why I think the argument against A-Chain can definitely hit, but Wilson and Mostert are going to play. Like, I think you're just going to be. I don't think any one of these guys you're going to necessarily feel great about. I'd like getting Wilson and Mostert later, just because I think there will be spike weeks to be had. I don't see A-Chain getting you way more than those guys, considering his ADP compared to them.
I take him sometimes because he's got a lot more. If anyone's gonna have a 300-point crazy season, it's him, right?
Sure.
Over.
Yeah.
But most likely they're all doing their thing.
Right.
And like I'm slightly Wilson over Mostert, maybe age reasons. Like,
I kind of like that. Yeah.
How are you guys on? Like, I feel like isn't Wilson the goal line back? I don't know.
It's going to be annoying.
It's going to depend. Yeah,
Annoying
probably
is good for best ball.
Yeah, he probably is the goal line back over Mostert anyway, and probably over A-Chain too, just because A-Chain's not a big guy. And Wilson's had success now with Miami and San Francisco. Like, they definitely like him.
So I think we should definitely grab Gibson, because after Gibson, the running back position dies. And unless you guys are like in love with Rashee Rice and crew, but like I feel like the running backs are a much better bet over. I don't know, like
Sky Moore. Come on,
Sky
I'd
Moore,
rather Chris
Darnell Mooney.
Rodriguez than Gibson at cost. I like Kendra.
You like Chris Rodriguez over? I don't.
For sure.
But like,
it's not what I think; it's what Eric Bieniemy thinks.
But Eric Bieniemy is the reason why I think we should be okay with Gibson, because is Eric Bieniemy going to be 20 carry per game, Brian Robinson, grind it out? Is he really going to like go from Mahomes to that?
So when they drafted Chris Rodriguez, Ron Rivera was like, yeah, Eric was doing backflips. He wanted this guy. We had a round 3 grade on him. He said he has a clear vision for how he's going to use him in this offense. He thought this is something our team really needed. And then there was a more recent quote that was just kind of like a throwaway line where it was like, oh yeah, Gibson, like he could do some stuff in the passing game. But and it just contrast that to ADP. Rodriguez is free. Gibson is, versus Jonathan Mingo here or Kendre Miller, who I prefer.
Rodriguez is a 6th round pick. I'm still
but he had round 3 grades on him, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't know how much.
But everyone has a round 3 grade. I still think it's Gibson or B-Rob. Gibson caught 2 touchdowns, and now we can take the best player.
I mean, Gibson has played like a round
Sam
7
Howell.
pick throughout his career, to be fair. And they hate him. Like last year, they hated his guts. He was on kick return duties, and then they were like, all right, well, this guy got shot, so you could play running back again.
I just think if anyone is going to unlock the Gibson thesis, it's Bieniemy.
Well, I mean,
because of what he did for CEH.
And Rivera could very well.
Well, CEH was not
coaching
athletic, right? Like,
that's fair.
Gibson's definitely the most athletic guy in the room.
Yeah, but he has no vision. Like, this is what Adam Kaplan told us off the record. Maybe I shouldn't go too in depth into this, but basically they thought he had the worst vision of any running back in football.
Why didn't they cut him then?
Because they had no depth at the position. They drafted Brian Robinson, and they drafted another running back because Robinson also struggled last year.
I think you should draft Brian Robinson too, but
I'm just saying Chris Rodriguez is free. I'm not arguing for Robinson.
Is McKissick a free agent, or did they just cut him? And
McKissick fumbled the biggest bag of all time because he could have been a Buffalo Bill and been the pass catcher there, and then decided, no, I'm going back to the Commanders.
To be fair, Buffalo would have just either signed or drafted 2 more running backs anyway, because they hate every running back they have year over year. So 50-50.
Thomas, can you click on quarterback, please?
Of course.
Hollywood to Kyler. But, I think we skip quarterback for now, figure it out later.
Okay.
We got lots of stacks, right? We got Kyler, we got Stafford, we got Sam Howell.
What's the last QB you're comfortable making this a 2 QB team with versus 3?
Purdy.
You don't want Kittle, but you want Purdy.
Sam Howell.
Absolutely.
Sam Howell for me.
We are coming up here right away. It's bleak.
I think we got to grab Darnell Mooney for
Yeah,
that.
Mooney,
Kyle
14
Pitts.
picks. Yeah.
He's also like just like a great bet if the offense is better.
Just needs one deep ball, right? That's
Exactly.
all he needs, and he can
And I've
definitely
not been
do that.
drafting a lot of Claypool, so
I mean, I feel that was same way, kind of about Pierce as well, but I don't think he really correlates to the team too much. But just needs the
I think
one
we
deep ball.
No, they play
let's grab
Jacksonville, don't
Mooney.
they?
Mm.
Or no, Carolina.
No, Indy plays Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, and then it's Carolina, Jacksonville. That's right. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, Mooney,
So we're
14
okay
picks
with-
after ADP.
Right. That's the DJ Moore effect. Okay. Darnell Mooney's locked in.
I mean,
But
we got a
Ra-
nice balanced team, right? We're done at tight end.
Is Rashi going consistently ahead of Sky Moore now? I don't know if I've
Yes.
noticed that a lot. Yeah, wow.
And there's been
And they're
quotes
both going
today
over
that-
Justin Ross. Can you believe that?
What? How mad are
Yes,
you going to be when
actually.
it's John Ross and not Justin that
I
emerges?
know. I'm a big Justin Ross guy. Some Kansas City beat tweeted that out today. He was like, I think you're excited about the wrong J Ross.
I mean, John Ross
That
ran
would
like
be
a
the worst
4-2,
outcome.
whatever.
Scott
Like
getting
8 years
handled.
ago.
Scott
John-
getting handled by
John
KC
Ross, 7
Raiders.
touchdowns for the Chiefs, week 17.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Goes full Gabe Davis, week 17,
Boom.
just for us. I love that. Okay, so pick 149 coming up.
What are the other wide receivers here?
Pass. Wide receiver has died. You either
Wide
have
receiver.
some good ones by now, which we do.
But
we could take some darts, you know.
Josh Downs had a round 1 grade. I thought we cared about that.
According to who?
Sources.
Sources. Okay.
Yeah, This
Okay.
is a tough
One pick
spot.
left.
Jalen Warren's not bad.
Yeah.
We don't
would-
really need running backs though. Like we could
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
stop at
that's-
4 if we wanted. I like
the-
Jalen Warren. We could go Higbee and overinvest in tight end to set up the Stafford stack.
Right.
We could just grab Stafford right now and say who cares. I mean, he often falls past ADP, but we could
I'd-
grab MVS and hope that he has a better season.
Yeah, I'd go MVS. Yeah, MVS or Stafford here would be my vote.
I'm okay with either.
Oof, oof, oof.
Scott, you're silent.
Yeah. Sorry, I tuned out. I was answering Discord messages.
Stafford or MVS, dude. Come on.
Stafford.
3.
Yeah, no, we got it right. We got it right.
Stafford. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Why take MVS when you can take Justin Ross?
Oh
That's
my
it.
God.
Oh God. This
Oh,
is why I
my
tuned out.
God.
I mean, you a Rashid Shaheed guy? I'm surprised you're not. I feel like you would be a Shaheed guy.
I was, but a little bit for those tantalizing spike weeks. I don't think it's the best fit with Carr and the Saints offense as a whole. It's like the Saints are a weird team because they're probably going to win around 9 to 10 games in a very easy division, but they have literally like 75 dudes who can get the touchdowns. You got all the wideouts. They're probably going to trade for Hunter Renfrow to reunite with Carr.
Ooh, that's a take.
Now they have Taysom Hill plus the 3 running backs to compete for rushing touchdowns. They have not 1, not 2, but 3 tight ends to consider because they also have Foster Moreau, who beat cancer, I guess, and instead of sitting out the year, is now participating in practice. And they got all these pass catchers. And again, Hunter Renfro's probably going to the team. So it's like, can Shaheed be who? Nelson Aguilar for Derek Carr? Remember Nelson Aguilar had those good years 2 years ago, and then he was a Patriot and terrible? I guess. I don't know. But like probably Olave and Michael Thomas, if healthy, are just – I don't know. They're a weird team to like sort out, right?
Yeah, he could be this year's Deontay Hardy. Very
I
much
mean,
could be.
speaking of Deontay Hardy, I like taking Deontay Hardy somewhat.
We
Yeah,
made
who's
it,
your-
we made it
who's
to
your
round
spot?
14 for Liam to bring up a bill.
Who's your favorite Galaxy Brain round 20 pick?
Around 18 on underdog. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I think all of the handcuff running backs make sense. So I'm talking about guys like Zamir White, Eric Gray, Evan Hull. Take your pick. Literally, there's a bunch of running backs that go early where we do not take their backups. And there's a lot of running back rooms where we are wrong every year, where we're taking the RB3s instead of the RB2s, right? So teams where that could be the case are a team like the Titans. Like, we could be taking Tajay Spears. We all think it's him. And nope, it's Hassan Haskins, who was a 4th-round pick last year, right? Like, this happens all the time. So, I mean, there's some wideouts I take. It's a choose your adventure, right? Like, I take Will Levis sometimes. I'm just trying to take guys I don't think are being drafted and have some ceiling. There's like infinite dudes you could talk yourself into, though. John Ross, Justin Ross, those guys qualify to me. Deontay Hardy, Trent Sherfield qualify. There's like, obviously not as much as the Chiefs dudes to me, but I know there's a lot of dudes.
A lot of dudes.
Tons of dudes.
How about you guys? Who are some like late round undrafted guys you like?
I think it doesn't really matter if you just take a straight 0 with that pick. You should be swinging for the fences. So,
but you shouldn't like be doing what you were doing with Antonio Brown.
I disagree, man, because I did the same thing the year before, and he had 100-yard games in each of his last 4 games, which were like bonus rounds.
Why is Jimmy G in the queue? Boo.
Yeah, why is Bigsby in the queue?
Clicking it for the
Get him out of there. He's a low morale guy. He's ruining our team chemistry.
Can you scroll?
He
the
looks
way to the top
great,
of
though.
ADP?
Scroll up.
I like Marvin Mims here. Gives you another week 17.
Shahid, Mims, Mechie.
I really like
Mechie the most,
Bigsby. I think Bigsby's gonna have a bunch of weeks this year if we're gonna be done at RB. But I like Mims if we're gonna go wide out. It's either Bigsby and Dunn or Mims because we need wide outs.
All right, let's go Bigsby
both are
and
cool
Dunn.
with me.
Bigsby and Dunn.
I mean, Bigsby could he could be the goal line back, or I don't know. Like Etienne's a weird because like we all thought he was going to catch all these passes, and then he didn't, and then they invested 3rd-round draft capital, and I mean, is like the dude's name is Tank, right? Like,
yeah, but that's the reason he would have been drafted in round 5 if his name was John.
Brian Bigsby.
Yeah, round 6, please. Good. It was good marketing on his part. Nothing else.
Genius parents.
I'm gonna name my kid Tank Barrett. That's kind of badass.
Actually, what is his actual name? I forget what
Tank's been in our queue for like 4 rounds too. So
he still has a pretty good, legit first name. Actually, it's Cartavius.
Nice. Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
This guy.
So he's like
a veteran. Like,
so why isn't his nickname Cart? Tank.
Wow. Probably because he heard that and went, I can never let that happen. Ever. Oh my gosh. Cart.
Okay. Will he be a shopping cart or a tank this year?
So I don't think we can take any more running backs. I think we're done at 5.
Yeah. You can remove those from the queue.
Right.
I think we just need to be like reaching on wideouts, even if we don't like the cost.
Mims hopefully falls to us here.
Oh,
yes.
we got him. Hey,
both worlds.
What a coup for us. Because, I mean, they're probably trading Cortland Sutton and maybe even Jerry Jeudy if it's like a total disaster and they're just trying to like really rebuild. I don't know,
I mean, what are they
still there?
Yeah. I mean, they're really in trouble if Russ struggles again. They definitely.
That's why Russ is a hard click for me because I understand I guess he finished as QB2 and QB3 last year on the after Hackett was cut, and like Hackett really was trying to jam a circle into a square, like bad fit. But at the same time, it's like there are the dude who balled out with the Raiders, Jarrett Stidham, is there now, and it's not going to be surprising to me if Russ is like benched week 10. You know, could he rejuvenate a la Aaron Rodgers? I guess, but he also could get benched.
Yeah, he could just be bad now. Like that's within the range of outcomes.
Russell Wilson?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You have to imagine that Sean Payton isn't coming out of retirement though if he doesn't think Russ
No, that's not what we heard. They just gave him like a Godfather offer, and he has full license to just immediately move on from Russ if it doesn't work out
so
this
that's
year.
the flip side is, he could also think Russ is bad and say, I can do whatever I want. So.
Yeah. Did you see that video or picture of him sitting next to Russ at the Nuggets game?
And
so apparently that was a date night with his wife, and just by happenstance, Russell was next to him. And I love that it goes Russell Wilson, Sean Payton's wife, Sean Payton, and that's the end of the aisle. Like, beforehand, he like begged his wife, like, this motherfucker is corny as hell. Please, I will buy you a new Mercedes. You have to sit buffer. You have to. And the wife was definitely like, this creep, like, he found out we were going to this game. He knew exactly where we were sitting.
Texted coach like, let's ride. Coach got seats right next to you. And he's like, fucking hell.
He pulls out the phone. Come on, coach. Let's do one Broncos country. Let's ride for the Instagram.
Yeah.
He's drawing up plays for Sean Payton. I'm really thinking this one.
Sean Payton's like, I hate this mother. Like, he on phone with the GM. Get me Taysom Hill. I don't care if it's 2 first-round picks. Get me Taysom Hill ASAP.
We will give them whatever first-round picks we have with Russell Wilson just to get me Taysom Hill back. Just get this man as far away from me as possible.
But don't overlook the fact that Tim Patrick was sitting next to Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they trade those guys.
Love Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick's a guy.
Can you click on QB for a sec?
Absolutely.
So I'm a big Brock Purdy guy just because Ian Rappaport has said multiple times on television that 100% the 49ers starting quarterback, when healthy, is going to be Brock Purdy, and he's going to be healthy by week 2 at the latest.
But we don't have any 49ers, right?
Yeah, but who cares? It's just like our
so I
quarterbacks
think we
suck.
should take Sam Howell to stack with Antonio Gibson. And
I don't
when
think
Sam Howell gets the whole season, he is a poor man's field. He runs the ball, right?
Yeah, I think that's overstated. I don't think he's good. I don't think a stack with a running back moves the needle. But you're the one who's won $1 million. I've never won $1 million. So
Purdy has some upside. I just obviously like an unstacked pocket passing quarterback.
He was QB 6 in fantasy points per start. He led all quarterbacks in fantasy points per dropback.
We just lose though when like you need.
Yeah, we're gonna lose to all the Kittle. Yeah.
Yeah,
we've already made the bet.
No, not necessarily if it's like one target to CMC, touchdown to CMC, one to
I
Kittle,
mean, you're
one
right.
to
There are
IU,
cases like that too. I think we go Howell and then bang it out with 3 wideouts.
All right,
and we don't even need Howell, right? Like
you're the millionaire.
And the reports are, I mean, I had to pay taxes, but the reports are that Howell is.
You don't have to. That's just like a suggestion.
I could have just been like, "Fuck you, government, catch me in."
What is the Wesley Snipes School of Taxes? What are we talking about?
I don't know. Here? Like Howell to me though is like, it's not like we're drafting Mac Jones, right? Like these are the guys who used to be available late. Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, dudes who are like legit not running the ball. Howell, we limited sample, and reportedly he's doing well in OTA. So it's been 2 days.
Right. Best shape of his life.
He threw a touchdown to Antonio Gibson today. How could we not draft that stack on this day?
My only fear with Howell is there's no guarantee he's the guy starting when the weeks that matter, 15, 16, 17.
You're right, but like, why is Brissett the answer for those weeks?
Oh yeah, I don't think that should necessarily be the answer. I'm just, if we're comparing a guy like Howell and Purdy, I know Purdy doesn't work for this team, but just in general, like we know if Purdy is healthy, he will be the starter in those important weeks.
I think part of my issue with
I still
Howell,
like Trey Lance. Like I'm just like going down with the ship. I don't care.
Oh, Jerome Ford's a good pick. He's a better pick than
we don't need.
Warren.
We need. I
know.
We are yeeting running back.
I'm just
I would
saying.
grab Khalil Shakir's locker room is next to Stephon Diggs. So
why isn't he going in round 6?
Seems like he's clearly the 3 there. And if people are wrong on Dalton Kincaid, or if just the Shakir split is with Kincaid, he could still have some weeks. He's attached to the Bills. The Patriots, again, could be awful, who they play week 17. Like, a lot of people are afraid of, like, the Bill Belichick defense. Josh Allen has destroyed the Bill Belichick defense when he hasn't played in a windstorm. Like, absolutely eviscerated. Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit on the wide receivers.
Yes, sir.
What do we got? One more pick?
Yeah, one more.
Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Justin Ross?
So I think there's an edge in drafting players who no one is drafting.
Yeah,
How
that's
about
why
Puka
Phillips.
Nakua? Puka Nakua to stack with Stafford.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
He got some buzz today. Who shouted him out on the Rams? Van Jefferson did.
That's right.
Which I don't know how to feel about that. With like Van Jefferson's like the 2, and he's like shouting out his comp or something. You know.
Well, what about Tutu? Are you just?
I think
totally out
Tutu
on-
is only cup insurance. Like I used to be okay with Tutu, but I don't know if we
Yeah, I can see
believe the
that.
ESPN depth chart. It seems like he is the backup slot. You know.
Yeah, I mean they really. I mean, Puka is probably best in the slot as well. I mean, he probably can play on the outside better than Tutu. Van
I don't know much
Jefferson's
about him. I've heard he's a little bit of Debo like.
Yeah, he's
you know?
Debo
But like
light.
who isn't a little Debo like now coming into the NFL, right?
I mean,
Like,
it's
that's, like,
OTAs.
everyone gets that comp, like, oh, he can run the ball.
Yeah, he definitely there should be no reason that they do that stuff they did with Skourneck last year, with like forcing him trick look plays and stuff like that.
He is the wide receiver 3 on every depth chart you Google right now, though, and he goes literally undrafted except 2 teams I took him on. So I don't know. Like he's probably not good. He plays fullback somewhat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
That's why I think they like him to do that stuff, which is probably what keeps him on the depth chart where he is. But
yeah, I mean, in general, I think it's sharper to be taking RB darts such as Jerome Ford and gang here, because you're just way more likely to like luck into some huge contingent value. And we should just recognize every wide receiver dart we take now. We're really just aiming for them to have like 3 spike weeks max, and one of them lands in the playoffs. And so it's
Right.
like it's a thinner bet, but it's a bet that wins too sometimes.
All right, I have a great pick for us. Will Fuller.
No,
Shut the.
it
No.
hurts.
How much Will Fuller did you have last year?
I had a lot of Will Fuller last year.
I like the thesis, man. I thought the thesis was strong.
And that's why I'm like not leaning into as much uncertainty this year. I'm way more, like these like question mark guys. I want to be drafting guys who are going to be in the NFL.
that's a good strategy.
Yeah, I mean, bold, but like so many of my early teams were dead. And there's 2 trains of thoughts, right? Like one train of thought is lean into uncertainty. Who cares? You can build a super team. The other train of thought is you're getting such ADP values that just draft a healthy team is an advantage, right?
And you're already probably taking on risks, so much uncertainty elsewhere early, even with guys that will be in the NFL, but maybe their depth chart spot moves up or down, or they get hurt in the summer or something, whatever. Yeah, you probably want to try to be as sure as you can with some of these later guys this early in the draft season.
I was going to be down with Puka, but we probably... So, I mean, Claypool's going to be on team, so we're not getting unique. He does give us a Week 17 game stack against Kyle Pitts. What do you guys want to do? We can go anywhere. I mean, Puka is going to be on 2% of teams.
I say Justin Ross.
You don't count. You're muted right now.
I'd
put
go
him in the
Puka.
mute tank. Let's do Puka then.
Puka is not. I'm just gonna.
there
you go.
Because Stafford has
Ripping the Band-Aid off.
upside, right?
Yeah, if we didn't have Mooney already, I would think Chase is definitely good. But if Chase and Mooney are good, then we're probably dead to some Justin Fields teams that are just crushing.
Justin
I don't
Ross
view
is
it
going to
that
catch
way.
120
passes.
passes.
So I agree.
And
that is absurd.
I'm going to clip every single time I say I think we should take Justin Ross, and you mute me or tell me to go fuck myself, and I am just going to...
I never said that, okay?
It's going to be a
Justin
highlight
Ross
reel
is going
of
to
all
be
time.
on my $3 million team, and I'm going to be like, Scott who?
Scott only had 5% exposure because stupid Chris vetoes
I'm just going to
me.
draft him on one team, and it will be the winner.
Oh man, that's what it's going to be. He's that good. You just draft him, and it doesn't matter what else you do.
We will have enough
like a
exposure.
common pick. Like in pre-draft best ball, he was like always going in the 18th. He's fallen out of favor.
Yeah, we've taken him at least twice, I think.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
twice.
sure.
That's enough. And that's enough. We're good. We got all the exposure we need.
One Puka Nakua share, and Scott's breaking pencils over there.
He's been doing it since the 10th round. Let's be honest.
I like this team. I think this is a good team.
If you guys want to see a masterclass of a draft, go back and watch Scott and I's draft on my channel. Where
hell yeah!
I believe we started off with Antonio Brown the 11th, and I just knew it was downhill from there.
I think it was round 17. To be fair,
Yeah, whatever. Same thing.
It hurts the same. All right, the round isn't the important part; it's the player.
Isaiah Likely is an interesting pick that just happened. Mark Andrews
Right.
suffers an ACL injury tomorrow.
Oh, can we not? Those are
There's a lot of pass game competition though compared to last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't think
It's a different scheme.
And I was gonna say the scheme I think is what matters the most for that to not come through.
They also
I like our team a lot. It's pretty balanced, right? We went double elite tight end. We got one borderline elite quarterback in Dak if it works out. Stafford, who's got upside. Howell, who's got a lot of upside if he can just start the whole year and run the ball. You know, we got a bunch of solid picks at RB. Like, we're very strong there.
Love this.
Our wideout. We got Cup filling the roster every single week. We got two really high volume slot guys on offenses we like. And then a bunch of darts on, which makes sense, right? It's like Hollywood, a spike week guy, Mooney, a spike week guy, Mims, second round pick, big body, spike week guy, Shakir attached to the Bills, Puka Nakua for the stack. And then Pitts and Waller are just, could nut out at tight end.
Right. And I think it's important, like not a lot when you go through and look, not a lot of reaches when it comes to ADP as well, which I feel is very
actually the
important.
opposite, right? Yeah. Like we got like great value on some players like Hollywood and Mooney. We got 10 picks plus after ADP.
Right. I mean, Pitts after ADP, Waller a hair early, but I feel like that's okay. I think the biggest one is the Stafford, and at that point of the draft, it was really bare bones anyway.
Yeah. There's not much reaching at that point.
Right. Absolutely. Especially when you are securing your stack, which I mean, if that's your main stack, and it is it's a pretty good stack to have. You know what I mean? So that's right. Look, we're gonna do a quick second. We come back. We're gonna get some final thoughts and check out what guest of honor Liam has coming down the pipeline for everybody. Sit tight. We'll be right back. Okay. Phenomenal. Fantastic. Great time. Loved the draft. And look, got a pick you liked, got a pick you think we missed. Feel free. Let us know in the comments. Be sure to make fun of Scott. I mean, he loves that. It's his favorite part about the show. When you make a comment about a pick that he wanted that he didn't get, he loves that. He just tells me all the time. So we are encouraging you. Leave a comment below. Best pick, worst pick, and Scott's worst suggested pick of the draft. Let us know. Liam, absolute blast. Phenomenal, man. You obviously have your own YouTube channel. Let people know where they can go if they, for some reason, aren't there already.
Yeah, man. First off, I want to say thank you for giving my $750,000 share. I want that clearly on the record that I have 25% of this $3 million team. The boys assured me of that. Of course, the min cash, which we don't need to worry about. Again, the $750,000 I'm very happy to have earned drafting with you sharp gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast. You can catch me. Just Liam Murphy on YouTube. You'll find me there.
I love that. Love that. Obviously, Chris, Scott, final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, just want to thank Liam for coming on. Always good to have a winner.
Shot fired at me. Is that what it is, Chris? Because I haven't won $1 million.
Step up your game, Scott.
Yeah, I have to freaking podcast with this loser every week. Really nice to have someone who knows what he's talking about. Come on. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, my God.
Motivation, Scott.
Yeah, I get a chip on my shoulder now, just like Justin Ross with his UDFA draft capital.
Scott, if there's one thing that we can count on every week is that you put the breakdown in best ball breakdown, as happens every single
the
week.
best balls and best
He
ball.
didn't put the. He didn't say you put the best in.
Breakdown. That's right.
Everyone knows I
there.
have the best balls. Come on.
Phenomenal. Look, thank you everyone for joining us again. We'll be here same bat time, same bat channel. I, of course, am your host, Tom Tipple, and for Scott, Chris, and Liam, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.